Hi, my name is Rajesh Valluri and welcome to my video. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the different ways of connecting to a Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi, as you know, is a credit card sized computer which can be deployed into many on-field applications, which means in most cases you will not have physical access to the computer, and if you want to deploy code changes or operating system upgrades, you won't be able to do it physically, which means you need to connect to it either using a command line based tool like PuTTY or use remote desktop. In addition, in the very beginning, when you first power up your Pi, you need to set up your network and root password, etc. And for that, you need to physically connect. In that instance, you do need to physically connect to the Pi. So in this video, I'm going to quickly walk you through the three options available: the physical connection, PuTTY-based command line interface, and remote desktop, proper graphical interface using remote desktop. So stick around. And the first and easiest way to connect to a Raspberry Pi is doing it physically, which means you connect your Pi to a screen, most likely a HD screen, using the HDMI outlets. So this can be done quite simply as shown in this video below. This is important because the very first time when you unbox your Raspberry Pi package, I mean computer, you need to be able to change the root password. You need to install some initial packages, network packages, etc. in some cases, and you need to also give it a network address, etc. So all of these can be only done when you are physically connected to your Pi, and the display can be seen on a screen. So this what we have seen so far is just that. I have unboxed my Pi, powered it up, and then connected it to my TV using the HDMI cable, and then and I have keyboard and mouse, and using which I was able to enter commands, and I mean just like any other computer. So while connected to the Pi, you need to enable SSH protocol on this machine if it's not already enabled. This will allow us to connect to this Pi using a command line interface called PuTTY from a different computer, which is most likely your regular workstation. You should also consider using a static IP address, which will allow you to know what IP address this machine is on at any time, at all times, which means you will be able to write batch scripts and connect to this without worrying about IP address changes. What happens is in a home network or in any network for that matter, like every time you disconnect and connect, if you are using DHCP, which is dynamic host control protocol, the IP address assigned to it by the router would change, and which means we cannot actually hard code any of those IP addresses into your scripts or your batch processes. By using a static IP address, you can circumvent that, and you will be able to connect to that machine using that IP address at any given time. So do this, which is very important for our next option to connect, which is using PuTTY. So assuming that you have done all of the above steps, the next thing is to test if the PuTTY connectivity is working. So while still connected to the computer to the screen, just in case we need to do it again or make changes, or it's not working for the first time around, while still connected to the computer and the HDMI screen, fire up your laptop and open PuTTY, and remember the IP address you set on the Pi. Key it into the PuTTY terminal and try to connect. If it connects, if the port 22 is open, and if it connects, and then it'll obviously ask you for your username and password, and if you can enter those details and then click login, and if that's successful, that's it. The second option is available to you to use, which means you can enter commands and you can do any number of things on that Pi from your laptop. At this point, you can go ahead and disconnect the Pi from the HD screen, and then in my case, just pull the Pi and connect it to fire it up in a different corner in the house, which is fired up again. Again, repeat the step 2, which means you log in using the IP address, username and password, and if that's working, that's it. That's you have confirmed that it can be connected from from a remote location, from a remote machine. At this point, you should remember that you should still be able to connect your Ethernet cable if you choose to, like if you really want the full-on bandwidth of your network, or if it's only like a low latency, if it's okay with low bandwidth, you can continue to leave it on Wi-Fi. In either case, the static IP address will come in handy for us to be able to connect to it. And mind you, if you are actually putting this in a robotic device of some kind which is not physically connected or tethered to the ground somewhere, you cannot use your Ethernet cable because it's not practical. I mean, it's not going to work. So you need to choose to use the Wi-Fi. So that's step two. That's the option two. So the third option is the fun option, I say, because you don't want to just be restricted to the command line, which is available via PuTTY. You would most likely, if you are doing any computer vision applications or anything like to deal with graphics, etc. For example, my workload my project I'm working on right now is like a Google Nest doorbell, which is taking pictures of people coming to my house and comparing them with the library of people that I have trained the model on, and then telling me either an SMS or just ring the doorbell or just even like play a fun voice greeting at the door. That's the next thing coming up. But for me to be able to do that and build that and test that, I need to be able to see the graphics and the videos and the pictures and everything. So if you want to do something like that, it's a good idea to have access to the graphical interface. For that, you need to install Tight VNC server on the Pi, and you also need to install the following RDP server. Doing these two will enable you to connect to the machine just like you would connect to a Windows server using remote desktop. So this is how you do it. Just follow the on-screen instructions below. Enter the these following commands and fire up your remote desktop on your machine. If you have a Windows machine, that's just MSDSC or remote desktop, or if you are on a Linux or a Linux flavor machine, the tool you would use. I mean, you can use a number of tools, but my favorite tool is Remina, REMMINA. If you don't have it, just sudo install it and then you should be able to use it. And here we go, like I'm connecting to it right now, and voila, so there is my Pi. So yes, so this is just the basic setup. So to use your Pi in a more effective and efficient way. So there is nothing really groundbreaking here. This is the same as you would do with any other computer, but when you do this, you can have access to your Pi in a multitude of ways. And then, like I said, the next project I'm working on right now is the Google Nest project, which should be up and ready in a couple of weeks. And then watch out for that video coming soon. Thanks for watching.